Hi, Kevin. With any luck, you can hear me. This is sure fun. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. You guys keep posting that every time someone comes in. Hello. I can't tell if you guys can see me yet or not. You can hear the hold music. Sounds like my mic is kind of low. Okay, you do see me. Thanks, Kevin. I'm also on limited screen real estate, which is entertaining. Hold music. Did they just hang up on me? Awesome. Okay, I feel like I am too low. Hello. Might put an audio boost. Does it sound pretty? Oh, thanks, Kevin. Does it sound pretty low? Okay. Okay. If okay, so if people come in after I posted the link to the YouTube link, they can't see it. They can only see anything that happens after they log in. So if and Steve isn't here, he knows how to change the banner message. I don't know how to do it. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but I don't know how. So can you guys just copy and paste that? Just every time somebody comes in, paste the YouTube link again. That would be great. Okay, it does seem quiet. Let me throw in I'm on a different microphone. It appears to be a little low. I'm feeling a little bit like just shutting off the phone. For anybody who's joining the live show on video later, what they might not know is that Bluehost is just like apparently having a little bit of a problem right now. So my website is down, which is handy. I really like that. So I am looking for a volume pan. There we go. Let's throw it in here. And I can crank this up. Okay, is that a little bit better? That should be significantly louder. Yeah, actually, better yet. That in an hour. Steve is off picking up Lindsay and Nolan from their trip to Las Vegas for Lindsay's 30th birthday. Okay, how's that volume look? I'm going to do a Hindenburg test. That's a bit louder. Okay, I didn't want to blow you guys out, but let me try this again. Let's see. Does that look? It's still a lot quieter than usual. Let me crank that up. Okay, let's see how that is. That's still not that loud. Okay, I'm hanging up on Bluehost. I'm irritated with them. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. All right, let's hear how that sounds. So playback, confirm if you can hear it. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, technology geek podcast with an ever so slight. Okay, so I must have, what have I done? Okay, I've got headphones on. Why am I not hearing this? Oh, it's probably the output of Hindenburg. Let me check that. Your playback, it sounds good. Playback built-in output. Change it back. Change it and then change it back, I think is what the Hindenburg rule is. Let me change it back to built-in output. See if I can hear that. NosillaCast podcast. I cannot. Pass through. I can hear that. Goes to the podfeed. Okay, Let's see. Tested this earlier today and I could hear it. Why can't I hear it now? Okay, so this should be going, no, the output should be going to, you guys still hear it? Yes, IceCast should still be working. Kevin, are you not hearing it on IceCast? Because I think the IceCast server is actually on Bart's machine or Bart's server. Okay, why can't I hear myself? Okay, I'm going to quit Hindenburg and restart. I heard it earlier today. Right, arm the track. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. Oh, I know it's wrong. I'm a moron. I'm an idiot. No, it's not my fault. My volume was not up. I wasn't hearing anything. Let's hear what we can hear. Hi, this is Allison. Now I can't hear it. Okay, preferences. Let me put this to playback should be to built-in output. Okay, and let me do that. And share it into the NosillaCast podcast. Oh, okay. I was muted. I was typing earlier and it started deleting me. So that was fun. All right. Well, it looks like we have some people in the live chat room. So it's probably worth the trouble to go to do roll call. By the way, I am using my 12.9-inch iPad Pro as my second monitor using Duet display to my my MacBook Pro, my Touch Bar MacBook Pro. I got to tell you, this is the best advertisement ever for the flexibility of USB-C because I've got power to my MacBook on one port, and I chose the left side, and then I've got a Lightning cable to USB-C adapter going into my Mac to the iPad so that it can be the second display with Duet display. I've still got a headphone jack, surprising enough, so I'm using my travel headphones. And I've got my ATR 2100, ATR 2100 microphone that we'll be talking about on the show a little bit. And I've got that plugged into a different USB-C port. So it's kind of working. All right, so let's do some roll call. We've got Brett and Steve and Nick, Doug, Daniel, and John, Rose, and Sandy. And I just realized I forgot to lock up the dogs. But you know what? They're quiet right now. I'm going to let them let sleeping dogs lie. When Lindsay and Nolan and Steve and Forbes get home, they will probably lose their F11 minds. So we have that to look forward to. I skipped Kevin? Oh, you are there. Sorry, Kevin. You're so quiet. Okay, so this is Lindsay's kitchen. And Lindsay and Nolan and Kyle and his girlfriend Nikki have all been off at the in Las Vegas at our treat for their for 30th birthday, for Lindsay's 30th birthday. So that is why Steve is not here because their plane was late, but they should be here shortly. So I think I'll go ahead and get started. And I think they're driving up right now. So let's just go ahead and get started so they feel like they missed something, okay? All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. And there's the dogs barking. Yay, good job, Dodger. All right. Well, we are going to take a quick pause here, I think, while they come in. All right. I assume podfeet.com, you guys are going to ping it every once in a while and let me know whether it's back up. Because when it is up, Steve would be able to redo or put the link back in. Let's see, what is that? I am going to. Hey, Ian is here. Daniel, tell your father he's late. I'm going to telegram Steve the link so that he can get into the show when he gets in here. All right, let me go get it. He should just log into chat. Link. I'm going to paste it in there. All right. Okay. Well, not sure. Now I'm not hearing anything. So they're apparently getting Forbes out of the car. I'll try again. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan. Oh, nope. There they are. Hi, guys. All right, here they come. Hi there. So we do have a lively chat room. I've given you the link in Telegram. If you go in there, as soon as anybody comes in, they're posting the video link. So they can watch the video and they can chat as long as they have a chat client. So it doesn't appear to be disturbing the NosillaCast ways. Yeah, come on in, Lynn. Come say hi. Wait, where's the video so you can tell if you're on screen?
Well, I
Where
see
is it?
green.
Yep, you are on screen. The live Google Hangouts. Is that it? There you are.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for all the disruption.
Yep. I forgot to lock the dogs up and all the chaos. So I got myself a drink though. So that's been working out. Okay. So should I start recording, Linz, or what do you think's going to happen now? Yeah. You don't want to be locked out in the backyard. Why don't you lock them out in the garage when you get the stuff in? Oh, they broke from Las Vegas. Yeah. I don't know whether they made money or not. I know they went to a show. They went to a magic show. They were there the same weekend as the big fight. I don't know if you guys heard about that. There was a big fight. Very exciting. So I did. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Steve needs the real link here. Be in the Hangout with me. All right. Sorry for the delay of game. You guys can be done hopefully making noise shortly. Why are you going outside? Oh, he's got to get a beer. That's what he's got to do. He's going to go back in Forbes' room, I think. Which is probably where I should have set up now that I think about it. Rose says hi. Yes, go get your beers. She didn't say hi to you, actually, unless you're at all, Steve. She said hi to Lindsay. Yes, I did. You going to Forbes' room? Okay. All right. We should be seeing Steve shortly here. Can you guys hear the air conditioner? Or is that blocked pretty well? Okay. To get colder, you mean? That's fine. I don't think it's coming through. I'll ask them. Oh, Kevin says wingman. I'll ask them whether they can hear it. I think I've probably got it filtered out well enough. All right. Did you get one for Nolan? Okay. All right. There's Steve.
Hello.
You don't have your headphones on.
Ah, let me go grab them.
All right. Okay. That's funny. Okay, now we've got a nice fan we can see for Steve. This show is probably gonna go long. I'm not gonna lie. We started early, Steve. Yep. Because they wanted me to have company so I didn't slip my throat. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that air conditioner's not making much noise at all. Wow, that's nice. Okay. All right, good. So I'm nice and cool. We got a beer. We got Steve. Okay, Steve. Now can you officially say hello to everybody? Oh, no, he's putting his headphones on. He can't hear a thing. Oh, Nick came in too.
Hello, NosillaCast castaways.
I wonder if my video looks as bad as yours because it looks pretty crunchy here.
Yeah, you might want to pull your camera.
I know, but then I can't read the screen. So we're gonna go with screen readability first. All right. Well, you can chat in the
chat.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead and mute now, Steve, because we're gonna get started. We are 11 minutes late, and I think we're ready to roll.
Muting
the
now.
video is grainy. Okay. Let me get my GarageBand jingles up here. All right. So I need NosillaCast intro, midnight dialogue. There it is. And it's on the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. Is that really not going to work? Oh, that's a bummer if that doesn't work. Okay. Problem noted. Okay. So my no, where's my GarageBand jingles? I changed something, of course. Here we go. So NosillaCast intro goes here. All right. All right. We are officially starting. I don't care what anybody says. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a Technology Geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 27th, 2017, and this is show number 642. Well, I'm recording from Lindsay's house today. We call this the dog and baby episode, so there might be some disruptions. And as if there wasn't enough entertainment with doing that, with my road mic and a fun setup here, podfeed.com is down as I'm recording this. So luckily, the NosillaCast ways have seemed to muddle through and find their way to the Google Hangout, or at least I hope enough of them have. Looks like it's a lively crowd in there anyway. I'm actually, so I said I'm down at Lindsay's house. I'm using my Touch Bar MacBook Pro. And this is a great ad for USB-C because I'm using a USB-C to USB-A adapter to go to Lightning to use my 12.9-inch iPad Pro as a secondary monitor with Duet display. So I've got a 12.9-inch monitor along with my 15-inch display. So that's working out really well. And then I've got another USB-C to power. And then on the other side, I've got USB-C to my ATR 2100 microphone. And since it still has a headphone jack, I'm able to plug in my my travel headphones, which are now I'm forgetting the model, what they are, the fancy pants, noise canceling something or others. But anyway, they stick in my ears okay, and I can hear. So anyway, yeah, Bluehost just apologized to me on Twitter there. I just saw that pop up. So apparently they're having a big outage, which I bet that's really entertaining them. Anyway, let's keep going with the show. I am afraid I didn't get around to doing a chit chat across the pond this week. We were at Gene McDonald, Steve and I were, to go see the eclipse, and you can hear a bunch about that later, but it doesn't matter. I've got tons of great content for this show. I originally thought I wouldn't be able to do the show at all this week, and I enlisted the awesome Alistair Jenks of zcards.me to do the show for me. Being the amazing professional that he is, he started way early, and he made 3 recordings for the show, complete with show notes. But life got in the way for him, and he wasn't able to do the show. And then I found more time than I thought I'd have during my travels. So this week and next, you'll be hearing a lot from Alistair, but also from me and other contributors. So everybody wins. Well, this week, the online backup service CrashPlan announced that they're discontinuing their backup product for home users. What can only be declared as prescient, Alistair Jenks wrote a blog post and made a recording for us well before this announcement. And it was about partially why he chooses Backblaze over CrashPlan and some other things that he's going to tell you about. So let's have a listen to Alistair. Stop there. Okay, now let's find Alistair. Let's see up. Right. We're going to drop in. I hate being on my road mic and then having everybody hear Alistair's fantastic voice. Stupid Alistair. Fantastic voice. Let's see. We'll put him here. Uh-oh. Kevin just lost video and IceCast. Right. This in a little bit. There. So let's have a listen to Alistair.
Alison reviewed the Backblaze cloud backup service earlier this year.
I can't believe that. That's just mean to have my voice after his. All right. Let's jump ahead and go here. All right. Here we go.
Support for B2.
Well, I think it's really mean for Alistair to have his beautiful dulcet tones and then me on my road mic. I don't even have a chance when I'm on my good mic. Anyway, I knew nothing about B2 storage before hearing about this from Alistair. I'd assumed it was like a business thing. I don't know, B2B, that's what I thought it was, and something in which I'd never have interest. But from what he's told us, this might be a cool way to store my old podcast data offsite. Right now, I have it on a local NAS and backed up to a second NAS, but I don't have an offsite backup of it, other than the actual podcast files that are, of course, also on the internet. But you know, all the assets behind it. I never need to go back to it, but it just seems like something I'd want to keep. I got to say, I'm oddly relieved that CrashPlan backed out of the home backup solution business. As you may remember, I had quite an adventure with CrashPlan, where for weeks I couldn't get the backup to keep running. It took literally hours on the phone with technical support for them to kick it loose. I was amazed at their service, but on the other hand, it was quite an extreme effort to tailor my backups for them so they would run, and I had to go pick and choose specific little system library files that I wanted backed up. Didn't seem like a good long-term solution. Well, while CrashPlan was trying to figure that out, I did a trial run of Backblaze. Well, it had taken over 3 weeks for CrashPlan to do the initial backup of my 600 gigabytes of data to their servers. Backblaze achieved the same upload in 18 hours. I got to tell you, I was sold on Backblaze for me, but since I still had CrashPlan running on Steve's computers, I hadn't decided what to do for him when our plan ran out. I think it runs out this October. CrashPlan had a great plan for families at the time, but Backblaze charges you for each computer. $60 a year per computer for the safety of all your data isn't really that bad, though. CrashPlan abandoning the home market makes the decision really easy for me now. Now, the only bad part of the story is that we have a loss in competition now. Oddly, I have not been sent a note from CrashPlan like everybody else has about the discontinuation of their home plan. But Backblaze did send me a note giving me an affiliate link for people to use if they want to get on the now get this straight, Backblaze bandwagon. Should have thought about that before I wrote that up that way. Anyway, if you use the affiliate link in the show notes, you'll get a free month of Backblaze, and so do I. Everyone wins if you click on that link. Everyone wins if you click on that link. Is there? Wow. Ooh, that just normalized that beautifully for me. It. Never what I think it will do. Okay. But there we go. And so do I. Everyone wins if you click on that link. Sounds really echoey. Okay, what's going on here? Yeah, I did say Backblaze one time. Hey, grab my affiliate. Let's see. The info was going to set up Backblaze this week. Let's see. Here is my affiliate link. And Sandy, you already promised Alistair you'd use his, so you don't get to use this one. But anybody else wants to, they can. My Backblaze link. Okay. Sure sounds tinny. I don't know. My voice sounds really tinny on the ATR 2100, but you'll be hearing from a guy that sounds fantastic on it. Maybe I have a tinny voice. All right. So now I got to do, okay, we're going to switch over to how do you capture a total eclipse and still enjoy it? I hear Forbes. All right. Now, you might have heard that a total eclipse of the sun traveled across the United States on Monday, the 21st of August. Steve and I were lucky enough to witness it as our second total solar eclipse. I want to tell you about it, so I have to come up with a tech angle to do that, or it's against this rule of mine. The question I'd like to answer is, how do you capture a total solar eclipse and yet still experience it? The first answer I had was, don't try. Experiencing a solar eclipse is a very emotional event. I know that sounds stupid, but it really is. And it's best absorbed in a completely analog way. Back in 2012, Steve and I went on the MacMania Sky and Telescope cruise that traveled from Australia across to New Caledonia to intercept a total solar eclipse. While on the ship, we met our new dear friends, Devin and Marianne, and joined up with our longtime friend, Gene McDonald. On the day of the eclipse on the ship, I was so focused on trying to capture the eclipse on my camera that I really missed the grandeur and amazement of what I thought at the time was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I was fussing with aperture and shutter speeds and filters and timing of when to have the filter on and off, while everyone else was living the event. I really felt like I cheated myself. After we saw the eclipse in the Coral Sea, Gene McDonald said that we should all get together for the next one, which was going to pass over a few hundred miles from her home in Portland. Steve and I immediately signed up for that idea. So fast forward to the eclipse that enchanted North America this week. We flew to Portland to stay with Gene and then traveled together down to Bend, Oregon, which was an hour's drive south of the path of totality. We spent a day scoping out possible spots to view the eclipse and found a few little lookout points in Cove Palisades State Park near Madras, Oregon. We could see Mount Jefferson to the west and a beautiful gorge below us where we hoped to see the shadow fly across at 2,400 miles per hour. But the view wasn't the best part. This place had porta potties. Porta potties were a critical element because our plan was to get up at 2:30 in the morning to ensure we successfully got a spot to watch the eclipse that wasn't going to start until 9:06 a.m. and finish at 11:41 a.m. for us. I should mention, seeing a total solar eclipse is completely different from seeing a partial solar eclipse. Partial eclipses are way awesome, but this is just a notch above in a way that you really can't describe. All right, now that I've set the scene, let's talk about how Steve did capture the eclipse, but in such a way that he still fully enjoyed and experienced the event from an emotional perspective. After the great backpack theft of 2017 from Peru, we replaced his camcorder with a Panasonic HCV770. This camera is only 1080p, but it has a 50x optical zoom. He mounted his camcorder on his Manfrotto tripod. Months before the eclipse, he had also ordered a solar filter and a stepping ring to match the 49mm diameter of his camcorder's lens. He settled on the Hoya ND 100,000. That's a neutral density filter, by the way. It was on back order for ages. Apparently, everybody wanted to get a solar filter, but he got it about a month before the big show, so he was relieved about that. Now, the problem with celestial photography is that the Earth is rotating and the stuff in the sky is also rotating. The moon and the sun are moving with respect to each other as well. Unless you have a fancy pants tripod with a motor drive to follow the objects in the sky, you can't zoom up on the eclipse and get the best picture and record it for 2.5 hours. And of course, you'd want to be the hand rotating the camera on the tripod during the eclipse because A, that would look awful and jerky, and B, it would not have allowed Steve to enjoy the eclipse if he was fiddling with his camera. This is where Steve got really tricky. While we were waiting for the eclipse to begin, he set his camcorder to maximum zoom and positioned it to have the sun in the bottom left-hand corner of the frame. He then timed with his Apple Watch how long it took the sun to go to the opposite side of the frame on his camcorder with it way zoomed up. He measured it as 6.5 minutes to go from one corner to the other side. He noted that the sun left the frame partway along the right side of the frame, not in the upper right-hand corner. So he divided 6.5 minutes by 2 to get 3.25 minutes to travel from the corner to the center. Then he estimated half of the distance up from the corner as it left its first test run. He did a second test run and confirmed that in 6.5 minutes, he now had the sun traveling from the lower left to the upper right symmetrically for a pleasing view. Okay, here's another tricky bit to recording a total eclipse. While the sun is even partially visible, you have to have the solar filter on or you'll damage the sensor of the camera just as you would damage your eyes. But when you have the rare opportunity to view totality, where the moon and the sun align perfectly, you don't need a solar filter. You can actually look at it with the naked eye. And if you keep the solar filter on, you can't see anything at all in the video. So in order to capture the waxing and waning eclipse as well as totality, you have to have the filter on during the partial phase and remove it for the full eclipse and then put it back on again at the last minute. So to minimize the time taken to remove the filter and camera jiggle during the event, Steve put his solar filter on with only a half turn of the threads and practiced taking it off quickly without bumping the camcorder and replacing it. The next piece of the puzzle was timing. If he had to be watching carefully and thinking about the camera, that cognitive load would remove him from the grandeur of this event. Since we knew precisely when the eclipse would occur, down to the 100th of a second, we knew when this was going to happen, and we knew when totality would begin and end and when the entire eclipse would complete, he could set timers to tell him when to take action. First contact was at 9:06 a.m. and 43 seconds, and he made a few recordings during the early phases of the eclipse. It's pretty hard to see precisely when first contact occurs, so a timer for that wasn't necessary. But the real show is totality, and that was definitely going to be time critical. The moon during this eclipse appears slightly larger than the sun, but the sun's corona is bigger than the moon. During totality, you can see the corona as a ring of fire around this dark moon. But before that, at second contact, which is when one edge of the moon just barely begins to completely cover the sun, there's a brilliant flash of light. This flash of light is called the diamond ring, with the last part of the direct sunlight appearing as the diamond and the corona around the rest of the moon as the ring. It's really, really dramatic. So now think back to Steve and his tricky timing. He can record for 6.5 minutes, and totality at our exact location was 1 minute and 55 seconds long, with the midpoint of totality being at 10:20 a.m. and 10:20 and 21 seconds. I think I said we could do hundreds of a second, anyways, 10:20, 21. So he backed off 3.25 minutes from the midpoint to get to the start time to record totality. Then he added 15 more seconds and set an alarm on his watch as a reminder for him to be ready to remove the solar filter. So he got to watch the partial eclipse, and when the sun was just down to a tiny sliver, he heard the alarm go off on his wrist. He was able to whip the filter off with minimal disruption to the video and no damage to the sensor, take off his own solar glasses, and most importantly, he was able to watch the diamond ring and exclaim with excitement about the wonder of above us. On the other side, third contact makes a second diamond ring effect, and on that side, he just put the filter back on right as soon as the diamond ring was done. When we got done doing high fives with the crowd, drinking sparkling wine with chocolate cupcakes brought by Gene, and slogging through a couple of hours of traffic with hundreds of thousands of our new best friends, it was time to take a look at the video. Now, he was still working on the video to get the best pieces at the time, but right then, he did something else really cool. As I mentioned, the video camera is only 1080p, but he took 5 screen captures from the video, and together, we worked on it together. We took Affinity Photo and created a collage of the 5 stages of the eclipse into one spectacular image. Now, I've tried to create collages like this before in other applications and completely failed, but with Affinity Photo, it was a dream. He cut out small squares of each picture of the sun-moon combination, and then we plopped them onto a blank canvas layer. He arranged them across a diagonal to get the right feeling of progression from the bottom left to the upper right. Each picture was a different size because during totality, you can see the corona and light flying out to a much bigger area. He erased bits of each rectangular picture so none of the suns were covered up. Then we used the eyedropper to grab the black sky color from one image, and we made a background layer that was that color of black. Now, of course, the 5 images weren't all exposed the same because some had the solar filter on and some did not. But it was a quick matter of lowering the brightness on some layers and increasing the contrast until all of the blacks matched. The resulting photo that Steve was able to create is phenomenal. We've had several requests for high-resolution versions, so we posted the full-resolution image, which is 4,000 by 2667 pixels, in this post, in the blog post that I'm telling you about right now. Being a geek, I've talked about everything but what it was like to see a total eclipse of the sun. When we first arrived, a very young man named Greg walked right up to us and said hi. This crazy kid decided on Saturday morning to drive 8 hours from San Francisco to see the eclipse and just got lucky enough to pull over in complete darkness and find this spectacular spot that we had spent hours discovering and years deciding to go to. Then we met a young woman named Melanie who had camped nearby with her mother, Jeannie. She told us that she'd been planning on this trip for 10 years. She couldn't have been more than 25 years old, so that was a significant portion of her life. Then Rohit and Priya came over to hang out with us too. Steve even met a bunch of guys who rolled up on their scooters wearing spacesuits. We met a lot of other people, but it was somehow still an intimate experience because we were all sharing something significant that day. One thing that you don't hear talked about is how spooky it gets right before totality. The darkness isn't like night. It's somehow otherworldly. Steve says it's like someone turned the grayscale down, but I think what he means is that the color scale goes down. And I think that part of the spookiness is caused by how cold it gets. I'm not sure about this theory. I'm working on it, but I think that the sun heats the earth. Anyway, seriously, it's freaky to have the temperature drop probably at least 15 degrees in a matter of seconds, all while the sky turns jet black. I mean, stars come out. You could see stars. You could see planets. It's really freaky. It's not like sunset where, there's still a glow in the sky for a while. There's no glow because it's pitch dark out. And that definitely causes a feeling of something dramatic is about to happen right beforehand when the temperature goes down. Now, remember Melanie, the young woman who planned to see the eclipse for 10 years? When the totality was finally upon us, she started to cry. And that had a huge impact on me to see it through her eyes, too. It was very, very emotional for her. I can think of no better way to convey the feeling of a total solar eclipse than to play you this short clip from Steve's video right before totality and through to the diamond ring. If you listen closely at the very beginning, you can even hear Steve's Apple Watch ringing, telling him to remove the filter. Now close your eyes, unless you're operating machinery of some sort, and listen to the crowd's reaction. Save. Okay, did I miss anything? All right, Steve, you can chitter chatter there.
I am back.
Let's see, clips. And this is the clips audio. We're going to put that right here. All right. I'm going to let you guys hear all of this because it's pretty short, but it's pretty cool. The crowd's reaction.
You might want to set up You might want to set up what part of the eclipse we're about to view here. The phase.
Totality. I'm not
Yeah,
recording right now, Liz.
So it's just about to enter totality, enters totality, and then comes out. So is that 2 minutes?
I don't think it's that long.
Okay, so maybe you didn't get all of totality.
You captured it for me.
1 minute 55 is totality.
Okay, it goes from. Let's see, I can find out here. Yeah, no, I don't think we kept near that much.
Okay, we probably just condensed it a little bit.
48 seconds. Okay, here we go. I'm not recording this. I'm just. Yes, we're going to come east for that eclipse. And you know what? There's also one in Chile in 2019. Okay, here we go. The crowd's reaction. You can feel it. You can feel it.
God.
Oh,
Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go, guys. All right, this is it. Ooh, we're doing this again. Steve, don't look at the
I wonder if those are satellites above us. You see that satellite out there?
Oh my God.
Here it comes.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Whoa, pick him up. Look. Oh! Oh my gosh.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that's something else.
Whoa. All right. That doesn't give you a feeling for it. I don't know what does.
I did throw a link to the video also in the chat room.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm going to talk about that right now.
Okay.
Something else.
Woohoo! Well, I hope that gave you a feel for what we experienced. Now, Steve has completed his video, which intersperses camcorder footage of the eclipse itself with GoPro footage of the audience's reaction. It's only 3 minutes long, and it's definitely worth a watch.
I have to say, just as a comparison, this eclipse was more intense than the one we saw in Australia, off of the coast of Australia.
So I know why it was for me. Why was it for you?
Well, part of the joy for me is recording it, even though, you know, experiencing it was important and I got to. Recording it is cool because I can recall it and share it with friends. And this was I learned from the first one how to record it, as you just talked
and
about.
Enjoy it, right?
And enjoy it. And recording on a ship, even if it's a big ship, it still rocks. So trying to get a close up on the sun with a video camera, even if it's stationary, the ship is not. So it's a real challenge to get a video on a ship of close up of totality.
Yeah. You know what else we should do? I should get. Let's see if this is the full res one.
Oh yeah, the photo.
Yeah. I think that's the full res. Yeah, photo is amazing.
Yeah, I think that is the full res because when I zoom in, yeah.
If it's just standalone, okay.
Yeah, it's the full res.
Actually, we might go to Denise's house. She's in Houston, which hopefully by the time 2029 comes around, won't still be underwater. All right, let me do a little
2024.
2024, sorry. All right, I'm going to do a little recording here. Well, listener Ryan Winkler sent in his first audio recording about 2 products I've been recommending recently. Where is it? Okay, he is on the same microphone that I'm talking on, and I'm really amazed at how good. I think I sound horrible on this mic tonight, but I've got horrible headphones on. But he still sounds better. All right, here we go. Been recommending recently.
Hey, Allison. I thought I would send in a quick audio comment with regards to a couple of items that you talked about on one of your shows. The first one is the webcam setting.
Okay. I have time to play all of that, unfortunately. Doesn't his voice sound great? My input is still low. I'll just crank this up.
He does sound pretty rounded on that mic.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, here we go.
And hope you guys keep it up.
Well, very cool, Ryan. I just hit the mic again.
And hope you guys keep it up.
Well, we certainly will keep it up. And this was really cool, Ryan. I think I heard about webcam settings from Alex Lindsay too. I'm pretty sure I found out about it. By the way, to anyone else listening to this, you don't have to have a separate webcam to get the advantages of webcam settings. Steve uses it on his iMac with his built-in iSight camera. It helps him set the color balance and lighting, things that aren't available otherwise. The developer of webcam settings, Lian Sin, will always have a special spot in the NosillaCast Hall of Fame because he responded in 9 minutes with a spare license for me when I had all of my iCloud services broken a few weeks ago. I put a link in the show notes to webcam settings in the Mac App Store. It's only $8, so go buy it just because the guy helped us out. All right, let's hear another piece from Alistair Jenks.
Alistair's really earning his keep tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to play all of Alistair's stuff. I'm going to save one, and this is long too. This is on. Say it's like 7 or 8 minutes. And he did show notes and pictures and everything. Let's see.
Oh, this is the show he was going to do.
Yeah, he was supposed to do the show, but life got in the way. Alistair Jenks.
A colleague recently related.
Oh, yeah, we need Forbes.
Forbio!
Don't yell. Actually, let me click. I'm going to click it on me so that now you can yell. Hi, Forbes. How you doing, buddy? Are you happy to see Mom? Oh, you want to be on the mic? Okay, why don't you talk to everybody? Say hi. You see, that's you. That's you. What do you think? He's been had a little cold this weekend. He's got a nice bruise here. Got some snot coming down your nose too. Snot nose little brat. Yeah, look at you. Look at you. Do you see who that is? That's Pip here. See him? All right. Wave. Yay! Can you clap? Yay! Yay! He hasn't seen his mom in 2 days. He's missed her. Where are you guys hiding? You guys all sitting on the floor in his room?
In my room.
Oh, okay. Hi. All right. Well, enough, baby.
Enough, baby. Get back to
All
business.
right. Get back to business. Thank you. Oh, Nick called him Mr. Snuggle Muffin Chubsicles. He looks so grown up. Yes, he is. He's getting he's not as fat as he used to be. Yeah, he's definitely looking less like a baby. All right. Let's see how I did this setting here. Mr. Jenks.
A colleague recently related a story.
Okay. You hear 2 major typos in this blog post. Oh, I know what it is later. Wait, can you stop? Yeah, there we go.
Would have been a much harder road.
I love this article because it's something we can all resonate to. Alistair did this as a blog post for us as well, and I put it out on Facebook and Google Plus communities, and people are coming up with their own stories, which is really fun to say. Oh, I remember. Here's the one I used to use. So I won't bore you with mine, but it's been really fun. Everybody, go take a look at the blog post and put your comments into of the things that change your life that led up to the iPhone, because I think it's an interesting part of our history. Well, I'm guessing if you're like most of the planet, you do a lot of shopping on Amazon. One of the ways I fund the podcast, paying for hosting fees and apps I review and equipment to produce the shows, is through Amazon affiliate links. If you heard about a product on the podcast and go look for it in the show notes, say like the $69 ATR 2100 microphone Ryan talked about, you can be pretty sure that the link to it is on Amazon. If you click those links, anything you buy in that session, toilet paper, birdseed, let's say the camcorder that Steve used, or his Manfrotto tripod, or the filter he bought. All of those things are all affiliate links. And when you click on them, it sends a small percentage back to help the show. And anything you buy in that session goes to help the show, which is really cool. Some people even have gone as far as going to podfeet.com/Amazon and made a bookmark called Amazon. So they always make sure their purchases on Amazon help out the show. Thank you to all of you who do this each and every week.
Sandy says, oh, he's walking? We'll lock up the valuables.
So they put child-proof locks on some cabinets, so only the stuff that's breakable. But the problem is you can open 10 cabinets in a row, and they're all fine. And then one of them has a child-proof lock on it, and I didn't realize that what it was. So I was like, why isn't this opening? I pulled really hard and I broke one. Oops.
Don't know your own strength, Podfeet.
I guess. All right. This one's been long in the making. Listener Kenneth Taylor wrote in asking if I had found a replacement for a little menu bar app I'd recommended called Mountain. Mountain is a perfect example of Tim Verporten's does one thing and does it well menu bar app. It sits in your menu bar and it gives you instant access to mount or unmount physical and network volumes. Kenneth was asking about replacing it because the app has not been updated since 2012 and it had gotten a little bit glitchy for him. That said, I should tell you Mountain does still work and it's in the Mac App Store for $5.99. It's a 64-bit app, so it's potentially good through High Sierra and the operating system beyond that. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but at least that won't be a limiter. But I do get Kenneth's concern. The good news is that Dave Hamilton mentioned on the Mac Gab. Did you guys hear that drop out? Mac Gab disappeared. The good news is that Dave Hamilton mentioned on the Mac Gab. Yeah, it's weird. It's like it just cut. Volume is still low. All right. The good news is that Dave Hamilton a while ago mentioned on the Mac Geek Gab's Cool Stuff Found segment a tool that might be able to replace Mountain and do a whole lot more. It's called Parallels Toolbox, and it's made by the fine folks who make the Parallels virtual machine software. You can find Parallels Toolbox at parallels.com. Parallels Toolbox is a menu bar app, but rather than doing one thing well, it does a ton of single little things well. Think about it this way. Where Mountain is a socket wrench, this really is a whole toolbox full of tools. They don't necessarily have anything to do with each other. They're all separate tools, but they solve individual problems. Many of the apps inside the toolbox provide functions that can be done by other individual apps, but Parallels Toolbox piles them all together in one clean, standardized interface. Most of the tools in the toolbox open their own little floating window, which is an actual app. If you hit Command-Tab while you have one of these floating windows open, you can see the app in the app switcher. Each tool is slightly different, but for all of them, you configure the tool by tapping a gear in the upper right, which flips over the floating window to reveal settings. I'm going to tell you one thing that will make you not want to check out Parallels Toolbox, but I want you to promise me you'll listen through all of this before counting it out. All right? Promise? You can't outright buy Parallels Toolbox. It's a subscription service, but it's only $10 per year to use it. I know. I didn't like the idea of it at first either. But when you think about it, $10 per year is not very much money. Think about it as 83 cents per month. I want you to keep that number in your head as I describe what Parallels Toolbox can do and see if you think it's worth 83 cents per month. Let's walk through the tools in Parallels Toolbox, and I'll see if I can find enough tools in here to make it worth that vast sum for you. Let's jump right to the one thing Kenneth wanted, the ability to eject volumes right from the menu bar. Where Mountain lets you choose which volumes to unmount, Parallels Toolbox ejects all of them at once. I happen to like that because my main use case is when I want to unlock my laptop to undock my laptop, I should say, to move it somewhere else. But this sledgehammer approach might not have the finesse Kenneth or you seek. Mountain will also remount volumes with a single click, but Parallels Toolbox doesn't have that feature. Might be my imagination, but it seems way faster at unmounting my backup drive than Mountain. I really like it. It's a single click. Boom, it's gone. If you want to make a compressed version of a file or a folder on the Mac, It's as easy as right-clicking and selecting Compress, causing a zip file to appear next to your original content. To uncompress that archive, simply double-click on the zip file. If you want to encrypt as you create the archive, though, you'll have to go through a bit more shenanigans. The Archive tool in Parallels Toolbox opens up with an area where you can drag in a file or folder to compress into a zip file. To be honest, right-clicking the file is just faster, so I'm not sure this is super useful. The Archive tool has an option on the back-end settings to apply a password if you do want to encrypt it. That password will be your password for everything you encrypt going forward until you change it, and the password stays on by default going forward. It's pretty cool if you like to make encrypted zip files. Unarchive isn't super useful for my needs. If it stored the password for encrypted archives, maybe it would be, but opening a menu bar app to drag a file onto it is a lot more work than just double-clicking the zip file. So I don't put this one in the edition of things I'd buy this for. However, have you ever just wanted to take a picture or a video with your computer's camera? With Parallels Toolbox, that's at your fingertips. It defaults to your built-in camera, but if you tap on the gear to flip the app over, you can change the audio source and the camera to anything you have available on your system. I was able to change it to my cinema display or my Logitech C920 webcam. I know QuickTime can do this, but if Parallels Toolbox is right there in your menu bar, it's right there. Maybe this would be easier. But the camera tool in Parallels Toolbox has another really big trick up its sleeve. It can entirely block your camera. In these days of hackers being able to take control of webcams, this seems like a pretty swell tool to include. To block your camera, you need to authenticate as an administrator and restart your computer. I followed the directions even though I assumed it would only block my internal camera since that's the only camera I could control with the camera tool. But after a restart, that's not true. Just said it could do it. Since that's the only camera I should have amped this up even more. Oh, well. After a restart, I was pleased to find out that none of my apps could see any of my cameras. I tried photo booth, Skype, and webcam settings, the one I've been talking about this week, and it was amazing to see them all just completely vaporized. They just are like, you don't have a camera. I don't know what you're talking about. I do have to say I was happy I didn't have to restart to get them all back, just to tap on the block camera button in Parallels Toolbox, and they were all back. Pretty darn cool. So here's your question. Is it worth 83 cents a month to be able to disable all of your cameras when you're not using them? Now, I don't know if this can be hacked or not. Certainly a piece of black sticky tape over it would be better, but I just don't do that. But I can just hit this and say, I don't want my camera alive. Now, I take a lot of screenshots and I know the keystrokes by heart, but if you don't take them all the time, it can be quite a pain. And with Parallels Toolbox, though, you get a screenshots button that gives you instant access to capture your entire screen, a single window, or an area you define. No more having to remember, Command Control Option 4, lift your left foot up and throw salt over your shoulder to figure out how to do a screenshot. Now, screenshots made through Parallels Toolbox obey the rules you've set for the macOS's built-in tool. If you haven't modified the built-in tool, you'll find the screenshots dropping on your desktop as PNGs with that huge drop shadow on them. If you've modified the way screen capture works, you can figure out what modifications you've made by using the command in the terminal defaults read com.apple.screencapture. This will give you a list of the changes you've made. In my case, I hate that giant drop shadow, so I have disable-shadow equals 1 when I issue that command. And I keep my screenshots off my desktop and in my handy-dandy delete me folder, so I also see location equals users Allison desktop delete me. Kind of cool. While sometimes a screenshot will help you show something to a developer or maybe help a family member, other times a video is the best way to explain it. I do a lot of video screencasting using the awesome ScreenFlow from Telestream, but you know what? Sometimes it's overkill when you don't need a high-end video editor. You just want to capture something. Parallels Toolbox to the rescue again. There's a nifty record screen button with the same 3 options as the screenshot tool. You can choose entire screen, a window, or click and drag for a specific area. As soon as you select an area, you get a little video camera icon that you click, and then you're recording. Sandy Foster and a few of us were chatting about WordPress over in the NosillaCast Google Plus community at podfeed.com/Google+, and I wanted to show Sandy how easy it was to do a plugin update. I was already in WordPress, So I popped open the screen recorder from Parallels Toolbox, selected just the part I wanted her to see, and I recorded a 15-second video that showed exactly how easy it was. I'd like to have a keystroke to stop recording because then I could eliminate the bit of dead time you get while hunting for the menu bar app to stop it. So, but it was pretty easy to trim it off in QuickTime. I topped and tailed it, as Don McAllister would say. I dragged the video into Google Photos, grabbed a link, and pasted it into Google Plus for Sandy to see. Total elapsed time could not have been more than 5 minutes. Easy peasy, as my friend Niraj always says. Well, I should mention that the screen capture tool also captures the audio from whatever audio device you have selected in the sound system preference pane. Now, I am a huge fan of ScreenFlow. It's a great product. But you know what? It costs $100 to capture the screen with that. Parallels Toolbox is 83 cents per month. Now, I know you can also do it with QuickTime, but this is just, I don't know, it's really, really easy to have it right there in your menu bar. Now, I love how on my Apple Watch I can set timers. I invoke a stopwatch, I set an alarm, but that's not an available feature in Mac OS that I know of anyway. Parallels Toolbox comes with a time tool that has an alarm, date countdown, which is fun for retirement or Christmas countdowns, has a stopwatch and a timer. The alarm and countdown calendars both allow you to name them, but you can't have more than one of either of them. I'd kind of like to be able to have more than one. All right, I am now done describing the first row of the tools Parallels Toolbox. So are you convinced yet that it's worth $10 a year, 83 cents a month? All right, let's keep going. On iOS, it's really terrific to have a single button available in Control Center to turn on airplane mode, which disables Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular radios. With Parallel Toolbox, you get an airplane mode button that works the same way. In fact, I used it on an airplane this week. I really like that it warns you if you have a Bluetooth keyboard or mouse or trackpad attached before enabling airplane mode. Now, have you ever wanted to pull video off the internet to watch offline? With Parallels Toolbox, you get a tool made for solving that problem. Get a little floating window into which you drag or copy-paste the URL of the video you want to download, and you're done. I presume that if the website precludes downloading, this tool will not bypass those restrictions, but a standard YouTube or Vimeo video works just fine. You can choose what resolution you want to download using the settings on the back of that little floating tool window I told you about. I know there's a lot of websites that will do this function for you, but if you've already got a tool right there in your toolbox, it's a lot easier. Parallels Toolbox also has a convert video tool, and I'm not exactly sure what problem it solves. In the settings, you can choose 720p or 1080p, and that's about it. It appears to convert MOVs to MP4s, and they talk in the documentation about making videos easier to share. Doesn't seem like one of the power features to me, but perhaps you have a need that I don't know about. Now, maybe you don't need a video downloaded, but you'd like to capture just the audio from an online source. Parallels Toolbox will do that for you too. I tested it on a YouTube video, and it worked flawlessly to download an M4A audio-only version from the video. Now, macOS has a Do Not Disturb function hidden away in the notifications in the upper right of the Finder. You actually have to pull down after you open notifications to get to it. By the way, Night Shift is hidden in there too. Here's a little pro tip. If you hold down the Option key when you click on notifications, that will also put you in Do Not Disturb. Now, I was confused why Parallels Toolbox has a Do Not Disturb function if we already have it built in. But their Do Not Disturb function doesn't stop just regular notifications. It stops the dock from bothering you. You know, those bouncy little things? Really annoying. This can be super handy if you're giving a presentation and you don't want some stupid icon bouncing away because it's excited about something. I think I'll use this when doing screencasts too. A simple feature, but it could be priceless. Now, a lot of people use a menu bar app called Caffeine that is definitely a one-trick pony. Keeps your Mac from going to sleep. With Parallels Toolbox, you get a Do Not Sleep button that does the same thing. Tap once on it to set your Mac to stay awake until midnight or to never go to sleep. Tap again to disable. Really nice to have this available with all the other tools. Now, if you paid attention to my Delete Me Tiny tip, you've got a neat and tidy desktop. Or you've got those habits to dump everything on your desktop so firmly ingrained that you simply cannot change. Looking at you, Steve. Anyway, but now you have to give a presentation and you need a way to sweep all that crud under a rug. Well, enter Hide Desktop in your toolbox. One click and you're left with only those disk volumes you specified in your Finder prefs. And another click of the Hide Desktop tool and boom, your lovely mess is all back. By the way, if you go into this, Hide Desktop.
I seem to remember you talking about this before. Is this
No, I
part
posted
2
the
of the
video
series?
for. No, I posted the blog post like 2 months ago.
Oh, I reviewed the blog post. That's right. That's
Yeah.
the one that took me about a half hour to review.
Yeah, this thing, I'm like 2/3 done. I've been saving this one for a long time.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Now, do you have a particular set of apps or documents that you need to launch all the time for a specific thing you do? I have that need for the live show. And in fact, I wrote an automator script to open everything I need every Sunday night. If I'd had Parallels Toolbox, I wouldn't have needed to write that script. Parallels Toolbox has a button called simply Launch. You drag one item onto the face of the floating window, and it flips over, offering the option to add more items. Click Done, and it disappears. This confused me at first, but I tapped on Parallels Toolbox in the menu bar and tapped on Launch, and suddenly everything I had added to it launched at once. Now, how do you get these items out of Launch if tapping on it launches everything? I tried right-clicking on Launch, and from there I was able to open the preferences for Launch and remove those items I'd added. I'm glad I did that because I made a cool discovery. Right-clicking revealed an option to add Launch directly to my menu bar. So normally, all of the tools in Parallels Toolbox are under the menu bar app for Parallels Toolbox. So you can do this with any of the tools that you like. At first, I thought the first row of tools didn't allow it, but upon further tinkering, I realized that the first row of icons actually are buttons that reveal more tools. For example, record. That's too many verbal typos in a row. Lisping. I'm glad I did. I don't suppose podfeed.com is up yet. Oh, Bluehost wants to talk to me, though.
I will check.
Okay, mute again. Can you mute, Steve? Thank you. All right. I'm glad I did that because I made a really cool discovery. Right-clicking revealed an option to add Launch directly to my menu bar. All of the, normally, Parallels Toolbox is in the menu bar and everything's under that. But this way I can have it right in the menu bar where I don't have to do a pull down first. Turns out you can do this with any of the tools you like. At first, I thought the first row of tools didn't allow this. Upon further tinkering, I realized that the first row of icons actually are buttons that reveal more tools within them. For example, Record Screen had these 3 separate tools: Record Window, Record Screen, and Record Areas we discussed before. This means you can have a button in your menu bar to sleep, to launch a bunch of apps, to turn off your cameras. This is so cool. I've totally got my 83 cents worth. All right, there's one, let's see, do you like to lock your screen when you walk away from your computer? Parallels Toolbox has that. Just like Block Camera, Parallels Toolbox has a mute microphone button. I tried to override it in the sound system preferences, but I got a fly-in notification from Parallels Toolbox that an app was trying to override it and was foiled. And it wasn't just my internal mic that was muted, it was my big girl mic and the mic on my display and the mic of my C920 webcam. All were firmly muted. I even tried quitting Parallels Toolbox and I could still not unmute my mic. Very, very cool. By the way, quitting Parallels Toolbox does kill some tools like timer and stopwatch. I went back and double checked the Block Camera tool, and sure enough, my cameras were still disabled when I quit Parallels Toolbox. Now, we've talked a bunch about ways to hide distractions, and if you use the presentation mode in Parallels Toolbox, you trigger all of them. Presentation mode disables sleep, hides files on the desktop, and blocks notifications and dock animations. You can even have presentation mode configured to auto-detect external displays. By the way, presentation mode isn't explained in the help file, but I figured out by right-clicking on the icon that there was an About option, and that revealed exactly what it did. So if you forget anything I've told you, just start right-clicking on items and read their About menus. Okay, now is it worth 83 cents for that one presentation to your boss to look professional? I would think so. One of the banes of our existence in Apple fandom is how Apple dumbs things down sometimes. Remember how awesome it was when you could change your Mac laptop screen to a specific resolution? None of this larger text or more space nonsense like we're children who don't understand big numbers. Parallels Toolbox has a lovely tool called Switch Resolution, and it brings back the numbers. You can even rotate your screen 90 degrees, 180, or 270 degrees. I tried it, and darn was it hard to figure out how to move my cursor with the screen displaying sideways, trying to turn it off, but it's like doing a coordinate transformation. Luckily, I had a second screen and it let me change them independently. Maybe that'd be fun brain exercise to work that way for a while, work with it sideways. Well, we talked about recording video from your camera, recording video of the desktop, but what about an audio-only recording? Well, Parallels Toolbox has that too. Just like with the video recorder, flip the card over, and you can select any audio source you have available. But sure, QuickTime has that audio recording, but if you've already gotten your 83 cents per month out of Parallels Toolbox, you have audio recording more accessible to you. Speaking of accessibility, see what I did there? I tested out a few of the tools using VoiceOver. As you know, I'm not an expert, but I can usually tell if stuff doesn't work at all. Parallels Toolbox is partially usable with VoiceOver, but with notable exceptions. Each tool in the toolbox is represented by an icon and by words underneath it. All of the icons are unlabeled buttons, but all of the words underneath are also buttons and read out properly with VoiceOver. So you can skip all the button nonsense and just listen for the words like camera or launch, and you'll be okay. The floating windows have more problems though. There's a close button in the upper left and the settings button in the upper right, but they're not labeled. For example, in the case of the camera app, you have to go to the third unlabeled button and hit that to take the picture. In the alarm tool, everything works, but the on-off switch seems like a rather necessary feature. So I'm not a programmer yet, but it feels like it wouldn't be a big stretch to make Parallels Toolbox fully accessible. However, they'll need a bit of guidance to get it done, I think. Kind of thing Scott Howell might like taking on as a challenge. All right, that is finally it for all of the tools in Parallels Toolbox. There's another feature, though, that's handy. It's that little contextual menu you get with a right click is the option to add an item to favorites. This puts it in a drawer at the top, kind of like a toolbox, actually. Like, you put the good stuff up in the very top drawer. This area also contains your most recently used items. I like this model because you can put your favorite tools at the top and not go digging around for them, which is especially useful for the ones that have a sub-menu like the camera options. But you can put your favorites up in the menu bar. Eject and block camera were immediately in my menu bar. Okay, now that you've heard what Parallels Toolbox can you do, does it sound worth 83 cents a month? How about $10 per year? You don't even have to decide yet because they have a free 7-day trial. Guess what? It's also available for Windows. Now, it wasn't obvious whether this was a single machine license, so I pinged @ParallelsCarers on Twitter and I asked them. The great news is you can use one license on up to 5 machines. I'm so glad that Kenneth asked about Mountain because it gave me the motivation to check out Parallels Toolbox. It's an amazing set of tools, and I'm gladly going to give them 83 cents per month so they stay in active development. Now, they say that you get all new tools they invent for that $10 per year too, and you might be wondering whether that's actually going to happen. I wrote this up several months ago, and I've been saving this review for a while, hoping for the time where maybe I needed a little bit of extra content. In the time that since I did it, I just noticed that they've added Clean Drive, Find Duplicates, and Make GIF. I don't even know what these things all do. I haven't gotten a chance to go off and play with them. I've used the screen recordings when I lost access to ScreenFlow during the great debacle of my locked shared user folder that caused me to lose access to all of my iCloud services. I used Parallels Toolbox to record my screen because I couldn't get to my beloved ScreenFlow. When we were at MacStock, Jeff Gamet was about to go up on stage, and I noticed he had this desktop covered with glop. I told him about Parallels Toolbox, which he already had on his Mac, but he wasn't using. He'd forgotten about it. And I showed him how he could click the presentation button and get rid of everything on his desktop and turn off all notifications on his Mac during his presentation. He loved it. So I got to say, $10 a year for this subscription. And by the way, I did pay for this. I didn't get this for free. I was maybe 3 days into my 7-day free trial before I said, hey, I'm buying this. This is fantastic. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at podfeed. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com/something. We've got podfeed.com/Patreon, podfeed.com/Facebook, podfeed.com/Google+, podfeed.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Wow, that was a lot of me talking and not getting to chat with you guys.
Woo!
You guys have
That
made
was a long one.
46 comments since I last looked.
Yeah, you're only at 606 though.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
because
pretty
you didn't
good.
have a lot of breaks.
Yeah, I've been working hard here.
Yes, you have.
All right, so where is my?
Hey, did you ever get your refreshment? Because I didn't get it for you.
I had to get it all by myself.
Poor thing.
I mean,
oh,
seriously,
someone is here.
is it time?
Look who's
I gotta
here.
see. Oh, I see
There.
baby diaper.
Uh-oh. Foot on the keyboard.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
How's he doing?
He seems to be doing just great.
He's a little sniffly.
A little sniffly. That reminds me, we were on
Gotcha.
we were on vacation with Steve's niece, who has 4 children, and Lindsay said Forbes has a runny nose, and she said, "Yeah, my daughter's had a runny nose for 2 years." So. What are you doing?
Just a little tickling. Oh, were you here to change a diaper?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, she'll let you do it, Steve. All right.
I don't think I'll do that on camera.
You don't think so? Not going to share?
Too much sharing. There's a point beyond which sharing is appropriate.
Yep.
Don't you think so?
We've tortured this audience enough.
Do you want to do podcasting someday, Forbes? Yeah, he is quite a talker.
He will do a review. That'll be fun, won't it?
You do have to have the gift of gab to podcast.
Well,
And I
he's a
think
talker.
well on his way.
And stay subscribed.
Do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do. And stay subscribed. I sure hope Levelator brings my volume up. I might crank this up some.
Do you like seeing? Do you want to see Mimir?
Can I raise this? Oh yeah, look what I can do. Better raise all of me.
Let's go back to you.
Oh, I did that.
You did what?
I clicked on you so that you would be the center of attention. Oh, well, Forbes.
It doesn't matter. We can look at what we want to.
You can?
In Hangouts, yeah. It's only.
Oh,
when
that's
you-
only doing it to me?
No, it's only to the people watching, not in the Hangout, but people watching the YouTube video that you direct the video to.
Oh, okay. That's for you. But the live audience right now can only see whatever I do to them, right?
Correct.
Okay. What's that laughing about?
He's
What are you
examining.
laughing about?
He's examining the pen.
Pen?
Pen. This pen.
Highlighter.
Oh, it's a highlighter. Okay.
Confusing me.
He's having a conversation with it. What do you think about that?
Oh, that one went up on its own.
You all done?
There's always more Forbes. I'm sure the live audience loves every minute of this, right?
Yeah, this is good tech.
Okay.
I think we're losing our listeners.
You think so? Didn't seem like a good long-term. Uh-oh, they're leaving us.
Okay.
Oh, Lindsay,
Yes.
you might want to get the garage door remote out of Dad's car.
Okay.
You think that's a good idea to remember?
Yeah, but I don't know if the listeners want to hear about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, well, it looks like we're pretty well done here, guys. I think
we are.
Show. Everybody left anyway, Steve. There's only 4, not everybody. We still got Nick and John and Rose. So I think it's time we say goodbye. Bye. Right. I'm hanging up. Did you say goodbye, Steve?
Good night, Gracie.